This week, we're taking a special look at how the pandemic has changed and is changing our lives. Some of those most affected, students and teachers. They left spring break last March and didn't come back to the classroom for months, some spending almost an entire year in distance learning. 2 Works for You's Katie Kelleher goes in depth tonight, revealing the challenges that teachers, students, and parents face every day and what they believe lies ahead. Katie?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. It's easy to say this has been one of the most difficult years for teachers and students, having to figure out a whole new form of learning in just weeks. They've come a long way since the first days of distance learning, and they tell me what they've overcome gives them hope for the future.
Even as a science teacher, this isn't even close to anything that I ever imagined.
A school year unlike any other.
We have a line segment, right?
Students, teachers, and parents forced to adjust in March 2020 as not just homeschooled kids, but all kids began learning from home.
5, 10, 15, 20.
To protect them from a new and sometimes deadly virus called COVID-19.
The challenges weren't just how do we adapt to a different style of learning, but how do we change our entire lives?
Juggling Zoom classes and life at home, a challenge for students. Tulsa Public Schools parent Shane Saunders says he saw a big change in his kids when they were away from the classroom.
Distance learning, they're somewhat withdrawn. It was tedious. It was a task versus being excited to get up and go to school.
It is so quiet. There's no students in here. There's no laughter. And I missed that.
Heidi Launis is a biology teacher at the Union Freshman Academy. While her students are now back in the classroom, it's not the same. Instead of desks grouped together in 4s, they're now spread out.
Now it's tough to get them to talk to each other because they're so far apart and they're not in these nice little communities with each other.
One of Launis' biggest challenges, getting students engaged in learning without some of the hands-on activities they're used to.
We did an activity today where normally they are up and they're moving around the classroom, and instead it was just manipulating some stuff at their desk rather than being able to get up and move. And it's hard.
Another challenge, making sure those students stuck in quarantine are still learning.
I have a quarantine Zoom so they can Zoom in during their hour so they can still get direct instruction, but it's just not the same as being able to sit in the classroom, be around your peers, and interact with everybody, including me.
If there's anything good to come out of this, State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister says it's that families are now better engaged with their child's education.
So what is your assignment?
She says moving forward, one of the focuses will be on high-quality digital education.
This is presenting then a time of change and flexibility and providing different instructional modalities that really no one had an opportunity to prepare for ahead of time.
Closing what Hoffmeister calls the homework gap and focusing on connectivity for families without internet in their homes.
We need to keep addressing that. This can't just be that we had some hot spots available for families and then that is no longer needed because we returned to classroom. It really underscores a need that's been there all along. And connectivity will remain a top priority.
For Launis, she's hoping there will be a bit more normalcy this time next year.
I will take wearing a mask if I can have my students back in their groups and able to get up and move around.
Saunders hopes TPS will keep students in classrooms after being in distance learning for nearly a year. He feels there's a long road ahead, but both he and Launis agree there's hope for the future.
It looks different, it feels different, but they're still there among their peers and among their teachers, and they're super excited. You know, the smiles on their faces, it's a relief.
Kids are resilient. They're going to bounce back from this.
Districts are working to help students who might be behind because of this year. State Superintendent Hoffmeister says they're working on summer programming to get those students caught up. For instance, TPS is expanding learning opportunities this spring, summer, and fall, and you can check with your child's district to find out its plans. Katie Kelleher, 2 Works for You.